Good evening to all. Today we will be discussing group case study from chapter 7.1, Med Blood. The group members comprise of Indian, myself, Sharifa, and Ain, who is joining us online. Let's get straight to the point. The first question is, after analyzing the case, briefly state what went wrong in the international intercultural business scenario. Basically, what we see is a clash of cultural values and also business styles. Maybe we can start with Ain first on her thoughts on what went wrong uh, in this situation. We understand that, of course, there is arrogance from the Germans.
Okay.
The Saudis were insulted, or maybe you have your own opinion on what went wrong in this scenario.
Okay. Thank you, Nida, for your question. And hello to all my friends over there. Sorry, cannot make it together with you guys. Okay. For me, it's very simple. I will talk about Mr. Suta, and we know that Mr. Suta, he got a mistake lah. Which is he failed to anticipate and also to manage the cultural differences between both sides, which is the German and also the Saudi, before the negotiation began. And as the representative of venture group and the intermediary between the German and Saudi partner, he should have recognized the success of the international joint venture depends not only on the financial itself, but also the technical consideration. And but the most important things is he also needs to know about the effective cross-cultural management, in terms of to solve the problem between the two countries lah. Okay, Nida, I think that one is my point lah. What went wrong to Mr. Suta?
Okay. Maybe we go to Shah on what do you think went wrong in the scenario?
Okay, thank you, Kak Dida. So, for my opinion, I think the first thing from the German sides lah. So, I think that maybe because they felt that they are, superior, maybe because they bring benefits in terms of, high quality of technology. So, they felt like they are nothing to lose. So itulah mungkin they really prioritize their rules and their culture punya kepercayaan, and they think that they really need to get the black and white the contract, like the agreement. They need to follow the SOP because they felt that that is their cultural, their kepercayaan. And I think that they prioritize their culture too much sampai dorang tidak buat pertimbangan lah dengan culture lain. Dorang tidak win-win situation. Dorang just go straight to their needs. I think that's that from me.
So basically, you're speaking on behalf of the Germans, right?
Yes, yeah.
Do you think that personally, they have, maybe these Germans have negative experience in the past where they demand for black and white?
I think no, because contract and black and white is actually a promo situations when you get into business, because people need to be sure, and so they need the contract to be signed. So I think everyone yang involved in business, dorang tahu contract ni one of the most important things to avoid uncertainty.
I think Indian may have a pro-Saudi opinion on the matter. What what's your opinion, Lilian, on what went wrong in the situation?
I think Arab, they because they have their own strong belief um, in respect, in hierarchically, whether in their organization, whether in their families, families level. So this strong belief, I think, can show that the Arab company earn respect from their counterpart. So and some more, we see it in the case study again. The Arab company was the one who get who won the contract from the government. So they are in a very comfortable situation. So they also demand from that win, we are winning that contract. So they also demand the respect from the Germany, whereby Germany they have other field. If you want to earn our respect, you gotta give us the legal say the agreement will legalize their discussions. So Germany, they see that legal contract to legalize the contract is very important for them, black and white. And then with the Arab people, they demand respect from their counterpart. So it created it clashed conflict between the two parts because of their strong belief, difference of their beliefs in their culture lah. So
Hmm.
Um,
Nida,
yes,
can I add on
sure.
about the uncertainty avoidance and everything? So in my perspective juga, we can tell that Mr. Suta ni, the German also has this kind of high uncertainty avoidance, right? Just like what Sharifah said just now, and meaning to say the German manager reduce risk through the legal contract and written documentation lah. So for the Saudi partner, they are rely more on the personal trust and also verbal commitments to from respective leaders, like what my friend said, Lillian said just now, kan, what Saudi did. And for me, Mr. Sultani did not explain these differences approaches to everyone, especially either the party before the negotiation. As a result, the German views that the documentations is a normal business practice, while Mr. Habib lah from the Saudi companies view that it's about apa ni, sign of the trust lah, kan? Because they're feeling like whenever you do a business with us in the Saudi punya culture, they must because of the trust, not in terms of the documentation first. So yeah, that's the problem. I think I can see the perspective of Mr. Suta punya side lah.
Personally, I feel that Mr. Suta should have appointed a cultural advisor, perhaps, for this JB to happen, to smoothen
True.
things out in the future.
Yeah.
But of course, no, I'm unsure if he expected it to turn out this way. But may I add a bit also that
Mm.
perhaps Saudis coming from a monarchy country,
Mm.
they are not, firstly, they are not democracy. So what the leaders say goes, and of course they have faith in the connections that they have,
authoritarian.
Mm.
what Lilian said. So it
Mm.
is reflective in their business culture as well, because coming from a monarchy country as compared to, let's say, ourselves, democracy, and German. I think German is also democracy. I think it also affects, and it should be accounted for next
Mm.
future business dealings. Okay, and since I mentioned about Hostit's uncertainty avoidance theory, that
Yeah.
will lead us to the second question, which is explain how you arrive at your respective conclusion. Uh, basically Ain has explained herself for this part, so I'll go to Sharifah on how did she arrive at her conclusion, particularly with reference to German superiority.
Okay, so for me, I think that these problems actually, kalau kita tengok dari theory, so I can tell that these factors came from the Trumpinist cultural dimensions. One of the dimension is the universalism and particularism, where the German, more into the rules and contract lah, apply to the quality to. They apply all the rules to everyone lah, so no bias. So when they demand the contract, it's meaning to say that from the past, dorang punya business punya agreement, dorang mengharapkan maybe Arab faham lah yang dorang demand the contract. So I think mungkin ini dorang sudah biasa kan bukan minta lah. Dorang mendahulukan contract before the relationship. So I think dorang rasa benda tu okay sebab before ni pun dari past business yang dorang buat begitu juga. So mungkin dorang rasa okay. But dorang tidak tahu pula this will lead into misinterpretation lah from Arab, which they felt that it's very disrespectful lah for them. Sebab, even though Arab cakap they will sign the contract, tapi for German, they felt like you need to sign first so we can build the relationship after. And then I also want to add some for the avoidance uncertainty. For German, I think they prioritize the contract because it's okay for them to avoid some uncertainty about the contract lah. So their punya uncertainty avoidance is very high. But in terms of Arab, I think they really prioritize the relationship lah between the partnership. That's all.
I think that also is in relation to Hofstede's individualism versus collectivism cultural dimension, whereby the Germany they focus strictly on facts and of course about dollars and more dollars. And as for the Saudis, they focus on loyalty, about trust, about honor, about long-term personal relationships, which I think Shah has mentioned both. From Lilian's side, how did you arrive at your conclusion about particularly the Saudis being disrespected in this situation?
I think Arab will be. I think they are more to trust first, building trust first, having relationship with the business partners before having business. Giving their trust in business relationship. While German, according to Arab, German is talking only about dollar and pushing on the contract. But there's nothing wrong with that, actually. It's just that because of the difference in their culture and their strong belief, German is more on actually like other normal organization out there. They are profit-based. They wanted to have assurance by having the contract first, and then in a way of controlling risk lah, to avoid future cancellation maybe. So I think it's a way of managing the risk lah. And then for Arab, they are more on conveying the messages from their leader, and they truly 100% believe on their leaders. If the leaders say yes, we will sign, they don't care whether they don't sign the agreement. As long as my leader already say so, then I believe it's good enough. But German won't take just words only. They want it to be placed on the paper, black and white. So my conclusion is, Arab is more on relationship based versus Germany task based. So this is supported by Aaron Meyer's theories lah, which is relationship based versus task based theories. So that's from my conclusion lah.
I think Lilian also mentioning about another Erin Meyer's
Yeah.
behavioral skills, which is the consensus versus top down, whereby for Germany, in this case study, 9 engineers went to Saudi. And in Saudi, only one Habibi went to see the 9 Germans.
They are so confident. So
Yeah.
It supports this consensus versus top-down Erin Meyer's theory, whereby Germany, they require everyone to contribute their idea, then only they will come to a solution where they are consensus driven, whereby for the Saudis, it's top-down, meaning only the leader needs to make the decision. Therefore, it's only him meeting the 9 engineers. Okay, so we go to the next question, second last question. It's about, were you respectively surprised about the cultural clash which happened? I think, Shah, maybe you can start first. Were you surprised?
Yes. Personally, I think I was a bit surprised lah, because ini orang bilang internationals punya business lah, and then it involved 2 billion million project, so I was thinking or expect that German and Arab sudah pernah buat business dengan jumlah yang begini besar. So I think that they know the contract is a very important lah, kan, contract come first lah. But bila Arab like they assume atau dorang macam fikir pasal like German tidak percaya dorang, it's actually not lah, bukan lebih kepada trust. It just to secure the project lah. Is it confirm kah atau is it not? Also, I think like for bila orang yang professional atau yang sudah pernah buat business knows that this is a basic agreement atau a basic step untuk buat business, which is to have agreement atau contract lah. So it's a bit surprise sebab why Arab rasa macam tidak dihormati sedangkan they just ask for the contract lah. Bukan benda lain. That's it lah from me. That's for me.
Are you referring to the trumpet blast punya theory about having to build a psychological contract?
Yes.
Okay. And also about respecting the local hierarchy and honor, when the Habibi says that, inshallah, the Germans should respect it.
I think because German did not know, mungkin they don't have the exposure lah pasal itu kan, so dia mungkin rasa macam dorang tidak berapa tahu, and dorang rasa contract ni everyone knows that when you do business you have to have contract lah. So dorang rasa Arab tahu lah bah, instead of German tengok dalam perspektif cultural dorang instead of business. But still memang lah we need to faham other countries punya cultural before we do business. But then I think contract and agreement is everyone knows about that. Every country knows about that. But macam mana kita buat je, orang tidak tahu.
I think you're basically taking half of Lilian's point already. So let's go to Lilian for her opinion or her reaction, whether she was surprised or not, on the cultural clash with which is.
Since Shah already mentioned half of my points, but it's okay. I'll just add. At the first, before they enter into this business negotiation, or I think the Habibi, they only sent one person, and then you can see that the German team, they sent large delegation of people, and means even though they haven't received the contract yet, but they did send large team to do the negotiation, because most organization, they won't send this size of team if they don't have no big how to say, big hope or big faith on this business. So means they are serious. So however, when the Habibi, they go back on their words, they said they're not willing to sign the agreement. So that's what surprised me now, because the German people already by phone already relaying their message that things are looking good on their side. So, and then at the end of the day, Habibi was having doubts for this business venture. So that's what surprised me. So maybe the Habibi should have made thorough research before going into the business venture to avoid this kind of conflicts. That's all.
Will talk to you and after I state my case. My
Okay.
case, I'm not surprised that this happened because, as we know, Germans are known for their particularly technology advancement throughout the world. BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, everyone knows. So definitely they are perhaps comparable to Japan, where they need everything fast and within black and white and factual. And perhaps that's why they cannot perhaps tolerate the Saudis' way of doing business, as we know is quite laid back. I know an acquaintance who went to the Middle East to secure a business, and they spent like the first 3 days having coffee and having shisha before you get to negotiate on the contract, because you need to build the relationship first and gain their trust. So my response is that I'm not surprised, because we can see that they definitely have a big difference in terms of culture, in both the national culture and also the business culture. So were you surprised that this happened?
Yeah, of course. I'm a bit surprised because what we can see that the outcome was somehow surprising, because the project had a very strong commercial punya potential kan, especially in terms of the combinations ataupun the collaboration between the German provide technical expertise, and also the Saudi Al Fayed Corporation had also very strong the government connections and local market knowledge. What surprised me the most was the experienced international manager lah, because they underestimate the importance of the cultural intelligence. They focus heavily on the commercial and legal aspect of the venture, but fail to appreciate how their communication style could be interpreted as a respectful, as you can as my friend also mentioned just now about the German, and also the Mr. Habib and everything, which was the routine from the German perspective, and also the apa ni, Mr. Habib has a challenge to his honesty and also reputations. So I think Nida, basically it was very surprising, because they had this kind of problem in terms of two different cultural punya differences lah. Yeah.
So of course this brings us to the last question. If you were in Mr. Suta's shoes, what
Okay.
you would have done to overcome this situation?
This problem. Okay, these situations. Okay, if I were Mr. Suta, I will immediately assume that the roles of the cross-cultural mediator to rebuild the trust between the uh, German and also the Saudi. Okay, that one is the first lah. Before continuing the negotiation, so what should Mr. Suta did is to rebuild the trust. First, the second one, maybe Mr. Suta should have do some private meeting with Mr. Habib to acknowledge him that his concern and also apologize lah apa-apa between them, especially for the culture misunderstanding, kan? Then Mr. Suta also can explain more why the German manager request written documentation to reflect the apa ni corporate governance procedure lah, kan, because they have two different cultural punya side. So rather than lack of his trust in these situations. So second part lagi, I think the third part, Mr. Suta also needs to meet the apa ni German delegation to explain the importance of cultural differences using the okay, we can use also the apa ni Hofstede punya cultural dimension, kan. So government, we can see that the German with their own high individual and juga high uncertainty avoidance and everything, and encourage the manager to not rely on the contract, legal documentations and everything, in contrast of the Saudi Arabia punya more apa ni, dorang ni more to collective punya cultural bah. So they have a different side of both country. So they they have to accept people's punya different cultural lah. So I think that's all, Nida. Maybe also I believe that Mr. Suta punya roles ni kan not easy lah, kan, and
Yeah.
also not really simply to be solve the immediate conflict, but he also needs to become more cultural intelligent lah untuk solve this kind of
Problem.
conflict conflict between two countries.
Thank you for your thoughts. Again, I think you've taken like half of Lillian's point. So we'll go
Yes.
to Lillian first for her opinion on what would she have done for in this situation if she were Mr. Suta. And I think she's going to relate to Trumpina's theory. Yep.
So again, penambahan juga lah. Okay, I were in Mr. Suta's shoes lah. Because Mr. Habib also welcome his effort to bring the two parties to have a discussion using a clean slate. So at least maybe this say middle party orang tengah of these two parties, we can bring both party attention because the business match, because not getting the Arab company is the one who won the contract, and also they are trusted to do the business. And if these conflicts were to happen, they're going to be losing trust from the government also. So they have to be very careful on before taking any decision to to not doing the business or maybe proceed with the conflicts. So all they can do is maybe to accept the effort, the good effort for negotiation and discussion to ensure the business is workable, the project is workable. And then Germany also can be flexible with their rules, their standard operating, and their risk to be flexible with the requirement. So Mr. Suta will do the negotiation between these two parties. So I relate this to Buddha's theories, universalism, using soft skills, using psychological importance in the focus, the objective of the time. And then after that, get them together, maybe spend time together, make them both parties understand each other, so let them have the build up trusting relationship. Then they can move towards their respect and trust values with each other.
Okay, I assume it's me next?
Yes.
Okay, so for me, for my opinion, I think I agree with Kak Ains and Kak Lilian's punya opinion, which is, I will, if I was to be Mrs. Suta, I will go to meet Encik Habibie and the German side lah, to not giving their lecture, but to just giving their exposure about the cultural differences lah, so that they understand why this and that happens. And also I think that I can suggest Mrs. Suta to, before they conduct the projects next time, Mrs. Suta need to do a cross-cultural training lah, for the the countries that involved. That's all from me.
That fast.
Yes.
The meeting will end in 5 minutes. So for me, it's a short one. Being Mr. Suta, I would want to salvage the 2 million deal, which is a lot of money. I will probably be the middle person and will not allow direct communication between the two countries, and perhaps sign a black and white with the Germans to make them feel better, perhaps, and gain their trust and maintain a long-term relationship with the Habibie, inshallah. I think that is from me realistically, because this is a 2 million deal. I believe that my colleagues are rather optimistic about trying to change the mindset, but we have to be open to all kinds of solutions. So before the end, I would like to conclude that this discussion has covered the Hofstede's cultural dimensions, the Germans being high individualism, Saudis being high collectivism, and the power distance, where Germans are with low power distance and Saudis with high power distance. Uncertainty avoidance, of course, the Germans with high uncertainty avoidance. And we also covered Erwin Meyer's cultural map about relationship based for Saudis. And also the Germans, please do not be so blunt when giving out your feedback. And communications, whereby for the Saudis it's always explicit or cara halus kita bilang. And lastly is for consensus. For the Germans, decisions must be made in consensus, unanimously, compared to Saudis, whereby top leaders sahaja yang buat decision. And also with the Trumpiness theories, which also includes you have to build a psychological contract first before proceed to business. Respect the local hierarchy and order, and save face whenever you can. I thank you. I thank my team members for a successful discussion, and I hope, Prof, this meets your requirement for this group assignment. Thank you once again, and we conclude this discussion. Good evening and Assalamualaikum.
Okay, bye. Thank you, Prof. Thank you.